It's 12 o'clock now, so we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you all for being here today. Excited to welcome you to the second 2025 Winter Streak Workshop. It's so good to see everybody here. My name is Jen Gasly. I am the Adams County Coordinator for WellSpan Community Health and co-lead for the Winter Streak Initiative, along with Becca Hamner. She's the Community Health Coordinator in Lebanon. Just a few housekeeping notes before we begin today's presentation. Excuse me. Again, please be sure to enter your first and last name into the chat so we can track your attendance and make sure you get that entry for a giveaway. This workshop is being recorded and it will be available on the winterstreak.org website before the end of this week, and we will also email that out to you. We'll be taking any questions after the presentation, but please feel free as you think of questions to put them into the chat, and then we'll make sure to answer them at the end of the presentation today. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier, we will be sending out a follow-up email with the recording link, and there will also be a survey link for you to complete, and that will help us with feedback for today's presentation, as well as give you an additional entry for a giveaway. I'm now going to turn this over to Becca, who will introduce our presenter for today's workshop.
Awesome. Thank you, Jen. All right, so I'm honored to introduce Jody, Moyer, who will be leading our workshop today on the topic Flexibility 101. Jody has been working professionally for 23 years, with the last 6 years being here at WellSpan Health. She graduated with honors from Gettysburg College with her Bachelor of Arts degree in Health and Exercise Science, and graduated with her Master's of Science degree from Ithaca College in Exercise Physiology. Her current position is as an athletic trainer for the WellFit team. Most often you'll see her at Dietrich Commons Rehab in Gettysburg. She is also an ACSM certified clinical exercise physiologist, an SCA certified strength and conditioning specialist, and an ACE certified personal trainer. Outside of work, Jody enjoys outdoor activities and spending time with her husband, AJ, who is a professional firefighter, as well as watching her 2 teenage boys, Luke and Ty, at their sporting events. And now I'll hand it over to Jody.
Thank you, Becca. Excuse me. Thank you, Becca and Jen. I'm so excited to be with you today to talk to the topic of flexibility. And our workshop today is going to focus on the importance of regular daily stretching, and we're hoping to demonstrate some various whole body stretches that participants can do throughout the day and learn to adapt those into their daily life. The 3 goals of our workshop in more or less learning objectives, things I would like you to be able to take away from today, are learning why flexibility is important and the difference between what we know as dynamic and static stretching and when to use each. I'd also like if you would be able to take away tips to improve your flexibility, kind of what to do, what not to do. And finally, we're going to see a demonstration, and I hope you practice with me during that demonstration some safe, simple stretches that can address the whole body in kind of a short class that we do today. So to get started, I'd like a little bit of interaction. If we can use the chat feature, can you tell me why flexibility is important? So anyone who knows what flexibility can help with or why it's important in our daily life, go ahead and throw that in the chat. Awesome. I'm seeing them roll in. I see avoid injury, mobility, stress relief, feel better, help with stress, range of motion, mobility. Again, good. Trying to keep arthritis at bay. Very good. Eliminate stiffness. Get oxygen into the joints. Great job, everybody. These are some really great ways that flexibility can help. Posture is one of those things that we need our flexibility for to maintain an upright posture, which leads to less pain. Better circulation, correcting muscle imbalances, relief of cramps. If you have muscle cramps, stretching is a really good way to get rid of those. Better range of motion. If you're an athlete, it does help improve athletic performance by being more mobile and more flexible. Preventing injury. So by exercising and using flexibility, we're going to hope to prevent injury. And then just stress reduction, as was mentioned, good for lower back pain or any other pain, and it calms your mind. It can be very good way to kind of take away from the daily activities of today that are stretching us out and helps us just to kind of feel better and move and being mindful of our body. So flexibility is defined as the ability to move muscles and joints through a full range of motion. And there are two main flexibilities that we're going to talk about today, and that is static flexibility and dynamic flexibility. Static flexibility is the ability to kind of assume and maintain a position of full range of motion around a joint and is more or less in a state of non-movement. Whereas on the flip side, dynamic flexibility is more of a functional flexibility, and that's the ability to perform a full range of motion in our joints during movement. So think of the word dynamic, sounds like it's very much more movement involved. And static would be standing still or holding a joint in a certain position. So for the purposes of this presentation, we are also going to focus on active range of motion or stretching. There are other ranges of motion or stretching that can be done perhaps by a physical therapist, occupational therapist, athletic trainer, called passive stretching, where the clinician would stretch you during that flexibility gain. And for the purposes of this presentation, we're going to focus on just the active range of motion. So things that you can do on your own. There are some don'ts that we want to focus on during flexibility. And we want to make sure that we, first of all, warm up. You should never stretch a cold or stiff muscle. That can lead to injury. And on a day like today, excuse me, let me get a drink of water here a second. On a day like today with negative temperatures, we definitely want to warm up before we stretch. I often tell people that stretching cold muscles is kind of like trying to bend a piece of spaghetti that hasn't been warmed up, right? So that piece of spaghetti, you try to bend it and it's not been warmed up, it's just going to snap. Meanwhile, while we take that piece of spaghetti, we put it into a boiling pot of water, and it's a lot more pliable, a lot more flexible. And that's kind of what our muscles are like. So we want to warm them up first. So those dynamic stretches and flexibility are what we're going to work on to really improve flexibility, bring blood flow to those muscles, and help to prevent injury before and while we work out. So today's session that we're going to focus on today, we're going to do some of those dynamic stretches first. Excuse my voice today. We're going to do some of those dynamic stretches first, and then we will work on some of the static stretches that we do often after exercise. When those muscles are already warmed up, that's when you're going to gain your best flexibility. We want to remember not to hold our breath during flexibility and during stretches. So we want to breathe naturally in through our nose, out through our mouth. Also, we don't want to bounce during stretches. There's a form of stretching called ballistic stretching. That can be often dangerous. There's some controversy out there on whether that is an appropriate way to stretch or not. But we don't want to bounce, and we never want to be aiming for pain during a stretch. It should be uncomfortable, and I tell people uncomfortable because you're tight is okay, but pain is not. So if you have pain during any of these stretches, you want to back off and kind of release the intensity of your stretch a little bit. All right, so without further ado, let's get into some of our stretches. I'm going to move back so that you can follow along with me. All right, so hopefully you can see me, and we're going to start with some of that dynamic flexibility, dynamic movement to get blood flow going through our body today. So let's start with some shoulder rolls. So we're going to roll our shoulders back. Very good, and we're going to roll them forward. And these can be done standing or seated. Since most of you are probably sitting in front of a screen, we'll do them seated so you can follow along. All right, we're going to take our arms out to the sides, and we're just going to do some circles now. Good job, and let's go backwards. All right, very good. Let's pretend we're somewhere warm, right? In the tropics, and we're going to swim. So we're going to move our arms just like we're swimming the front crawl. And that sun feels so good. So we're going to backstroke. We're going to be on our back and we're going to take those arms around. Very good. All right, let's kind of move our spine on top of our hips. So we're going to move in a circle, kind of bending in your chair to the side and then to the front to the other side. Very good. Hands by our sides. We're going to do some side bends now. We're going to lean, stop in the center, lean to the other side, stop in the center. So these are all really good things to do before you exercise. Just some light calisthenic type stretching to warm up our body. And these are nice and simple ones you can do anywhere from a desk. Okay, let's go ahead and kick our legs now. We're going to kick out, just like you're sitting on the end of a dock. I'm in that summer mode feeling right now. I'm ready. I'm already over this winter. So we'll pretend we're somewhere looking over a lake, maybe, just swinging our legs. Good. And then let's try some marching in our seat. And like I said, if you want to stand up and you want to follow along in standing, you can as well. Good. All right. Let's take our ankles now. We're going to circle around. Good. And switch directions. Good. Switch sides, circle around. And switch directions. My ankle's cracking. All right. Now let's try some breaststroke. We're going to come through and pull back. Good. Together. Through and pull back. And again. All right. Take those arms to your shoulders. We're going to reach high, signal a touchdown. Maybe your favorite team's still in it. Mine is. I'm rooting for the Eagles. Sorry for any other fans. All right, up overhead. Touchdown. One more time. Good. All right. So you can see just by doing a little bit of movement, such as those nice and slow, working within our current range of motion, because that will improve as we stretch. We can get those muscles warmed up for activity. You often see athletes along the sidelines. They're doing our marching and they're doing leg swings, butt kicks, things like that, straight leg kicks. All right. Those are all things you can do to kind of warm up dynamically for some more intense activity. All right. So we worked out, we did our workout. Now it's time to do that static stretching. So that stretching that we hold in position. Best to do after exercise because, again, muscles are already warmed up. That's when you're going to gain your flexibility, prevent injury, prevent soreness from your workout. So let's do kind of work full body here. Let's do head to toe. So starting with our head and neck, I want you just to tilt your ear to the side. And just hold that stretch. Again, it should not feel painful. We're kind of letting gravity take over here. All right, and up straight. Let's go on the other side. Ear to shoulder. You may notice if you are more tight to one side than another. You can give some attention to that other side. Maybe hold the stretch a little bit longer. Good. All right. Now we're going to take one arm across the chest. And I want you to put your other hand up underneath, grab your elbow, and we're just going to hold that stretch. Now, the American College of Sports Medicine, they are an organization that those in my profession follow very closely. They're kind of our guidance to what is most evidence-based and that works well. And the switch arms. As far as a prescription for stretching, frequency, we use the FIT principle. Let me back up. FIT principle stands for frequency, intensity, time, and type. Our frequency of stretching should be at least 2 to 3 times a day. I'm sorry, 2 to 3 times a week, excuse me, aiming for every day eventually if you can. All right, let's try another stretch here. We're going to put our hands together and interlock our fingers, and then we're going to stretch forward, and we're going to pull our head between our arms. Next is intensity. Like I was mentioning before, we want to stretch to the point of mild discomfort, but never pain. Sometimes you can feel yourself kind of relax a little bit more into that stretch. Good. All right, reach high to the sky with those hands interlocked. Good, and we're going to just rest our hands behind our head now, and we're going to let our elbows go back. We're opening our chest. So we talked about frequency, we talked about intensity, the type of stretching. You learned dynamic stretching, this is static stretching, and when to use each. And relax. Okay, now let's go ahead and do something for our arms. Those that work with their hands a lot, whether it's typing, doing something manual throughout the day, it's good to stretch our wrist. So we're going to put our hands out in front, one hand on top of the other. I want you to bend that wrist back gently. Okay, and then switch to the other side. And then speaking of time as part of that FIT principle for exercise prescription, time, we want to hold each stretch for about 10 to 30 seconds. You can repeat anywhere from 1 to 5 times. Okay, switch sides again. We'll do this one a second time. I just had carpal tunnel surgery recently, and this is one of the stretches that my occupational therapist recommended. And then one more time on the other side. Very good. All right, flip those hands over. Now palms facing down. We're going to bend that wrist forward. You can feel that stretch up through your forearm. These are also good stretches for those that participate in racket sports or paddle sports, like the newest, well, it's actually not a new craze, but we're hearing pickleball being something played more often. Such an enjoyable sport. Okay, other side. These are some good stretches for that. Or if you like to golf, also some good stretches. Okay, let's take one arm up and over, and we're just going to hold that here. Remembering not to hold our breath, breathing in through our nose, out through our mouth. Okay, and come on down. Let's go the other side, up and over. I don't know about you, but I just feel good already just doing a little bit of stretching like this. I don't feel as stiff. Okay, and relax. All right, now we're going to kind of do a little stretch for our torso area, our spine. So I'm going to scoot out to the edge of my seat a little bit so that I can have my feet flat on the floor. And I'm going to take my one hand and I'm going to place it on the outside of my opposite knee. I'm going to sit up nice and tall, and we're just going to rotate to one side, kind of using our chair, our knee as leverage. And like I was saying before, if you can really concentrate on relaxing, sometimes you can ease into that stretch a little bit more. Okay, let's return to the center, and we're going to switch sides. So we're going to take opposite hand on the opposite knee. We're going to rotate using our chair and our leg for some leverage. Okay, and back to center. All right, let's do a couple for our legs while we're in this out position. All right, I'm going to have you, if you can, we're going to take one leg and we're going to try to cross our legs like we need to tie our shoes, right? And if you've had a hip replacement, you may have been told not to do this. So if you were told not to do this, please don't follow along. But it is a really good stretch for our hip, which can get really tight. When our hips are tight, our back can be affected. and some other things. So we're going to just try to hold this stretch. If you're not feeling it, want a little bit of an extra challenge, we're going to go push that knee down to the floor. And relax. Let's do that one twice. That one feels good. All right, and push down, hold. Very good. Switch sides for me, please. So we're gonna take that other leg, cross up. If you need a little bit of help, I'm tighter on this side today, I can tell. All right, and we're gonna push down if we need to. Hold that stretch. Again, to the point of mild discomfort, not pain. And relax. Let's go again. And relax. Okay. Now let's go ahead and take one leg and we're going to extend it straight out onto the floor. Okay. Our heel is touching the ground and our knee is straight. And our toes are going to point up towards us. So we're going to pull them up towards our chin or our face. All right. And we're going to sit nice and tall. And I want you to hinge from the hips as you bend over. We're going to keep our back straight and our head and shoulders up. This is a hamstring stretch. You'll feel that along the back side of your leg. A very good stretch if you suffer from sciatica. Okay, and up, or really any type of back issues. And if you have trouble doing it seated, you can do it lying down. Okay, we're going to go again on that side. Lying down would be just lifting that leg straight up in the air, or you can use something like a strap, a belt, a dog leash to loop around your foot, and then you can kind of help yourself with that stretch a little bit. All right, let's switch sides. So we're going to straighten out the other leg. Toes are up, knee is straight and flat. We're going to sit up nice and tall. I'm a stickler for posture. And we're going to go ahead and bend forward or hinge from the hips, feeling that stretch on the back side of your leg. Good, and relax. Let's try that one again. We're going to hinge down forward, hold that stretch. Good job to everybody following along. And relax. All right, let's kind of scooch to the edge of our seat, one side or another. All right. And I would suggest holding on to either armrest or the bottom of your seat because we're going to take our leg and we're just going to try to extend it out behind us. Okay. So we're going to feel that stretch, hopefully right here in the front of your thigh, your hip flexor area. When we're seated for too long, that muscle can get very, very tight, which can pull on our pelvis and again affect our back. Okay, relax. Let's do that one again. And relax. Okay, let's switch to the other side. You may need to scoot over and we're going to reach back with that leg. Okay, and relax. And let's do that one more time. Okay, we've been seated for a while. Let's try one stretch standing yet. And then, so I'm going to have you stand up. We're going to go to the back of our chair. If you have a chair on wheels, just be careful. It doesn't roll away from you. Okay, and we're going to put one foot in front, one foot behind, and we're going to stretch our calf muscle. So we're going to lean forward. The front knee bends, the back leg stays straight. We're going to keep our heel flat. All right, switch sides. So other foot in front, we're going to lean forward with that front knee, back leg stays straight, heel stays down in the back. All right, well done, everybody. You can have a seat. Just a couple more tips I'm gonna give you here today. Hopefully that felt really good to get some movement going. Stretching once today isn't going to magically make you flexible. Okay. So it is something that you're going to want to do over time and remain committed to the process. If you stretch frequently, you will become more flexible. It could take a few months to get tight muscles moving, and you're not going to be perfectly flexible only doing a few sessions. So we do need to stay with it, kind of a use it or lose it type of factor there. And you want to just continue to work to do it frequently. And I always tell people, flexibility and stretching is something that you have a tendency to want to skip after you've done workout. You're tired, you're sweaty, you just want to go have a meal or go shower. But don't skip it because it's going to really help in the end. So you want to make sure you get that done with your workout. All right, so I have a few minutes left for any questions or answers that I can help you with. Thanks, Becca, for throwing that in. So, any questions? I do have a handout of some exercises, some stretching exercises. We have a dynamic type of workout with the dynamic stretches and the some seated static stretches and some standing static stretches. I think Rebecca said that she would put them into the survey that you're going to be sent via email, so you can work on those classes or those stretches. And if you really liked today, I do hold a class virtually that is called chair aerobics, or we call it fit sitters. So sometimes we do some stretching and some workouts here over the lunch break, or if there's a better time that works for you, you can let our organizers know, and maybe we can throw together a class that people would be interested, and we can do just what we did today, together as a group.
Jody, I see a couple questions coming in. We have just
Mm-hmm.
a few minutes left, but trying to go back up here.
I got
Great.
one, Jen. You're good.
Okay, thank you.
The one says, is it about the length of time for warm up and stretching, or should it be longer?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Is that about the length, like for this session, that they should be stretching? Should it be shorter, longer, 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
Yeah, I really any amount of time is good. I always say something is better than nothing. Really, if you could spend a good 10 to 15 minutes or longer stretching, it's great. But even just doing a little bit, I'm sure most people can agree that that felt pretty good to stretch. And so, yeah, I mean, work on building up your time, holding your stretches longer. Yeah, so hopefully that answered the question.
And then for our runners, because we have a bunch of those on right now, are there any good stretches for their knees?
Oh, good ones. So we can do the hamstring stretch that we showed, which is that long sitting one. Um, Quad stretches, where you kind of pull the ankle back and hold that stretch. I'm not very flexible. I'm not very good at doing that one, but again, I would use maybe a stretching strap to kind of help me with that one. Getting your quads worked up, your hips. You can do like a lateral kind of lunge, kind of working our hips, and doing that warm up beforehand where we're taking our legs out. Some walking lunges would be great for runners.
Awesome. And then if you're sore after stretching, do you recommend they apply heat or ice?
That's always a good question. It depends on your soreness. If it's from an injury, we always recommend ice. Something that's acute would be more ice. So something that happened within that day. If you pulled a muscle while stretching or while working out, definitely ice. If it's something that's chronic, it's been going on for a while, some heat can be great just to kind of warm up. And then some people, you do both. You find which one that you feel better with. Some people like the ice, some people like the heat, depending on the situation.
I see another one. What are your thoughts on stretches with added or incorporated hand weights? So kind of adding weights into stretching.
I don't do that very often, so I'm not opposed to it. I guess it would just depend on how you're using the weights. If you're using it, for example, maybe around your ankle to help with gravity taking over, say, for example, in like a hamstring stretch, that would be okay. Um, but ideally, I don't think you really need to use weights to kind of stretch. Use your own, your body, or like I said, the stretching straps can be something that are really helpful with that added benefit of helping you through the stretch if you don't have a partner to help you stretch.
Someone did ask where they can find the class schedule. I do know that these are posted on WellSpan's classes and events page. We do have some on our Winter Streak page as well under the programs and screenings, but WellSpan has a ton of offerings, and obviously we couldn't put them everything on the programs and screens. So I would check out the WellSpan classes and events page and do a key search for what would you say the good key search would be, Jody?
Probably just either exercise or stretch would be really good. Um, if you are really tight, really suffer from arthritis, fibromyalgia that really plagues you, getting into a warm water pool and doing the stretches in the pool can often help. I do teach, if anyone's in the Gettysburg area, I do teach some pool classes in the Gettysburg area at Hers Ridge Rehab. They are online. You can do the keyword pool. But if anyone's looking for any specific stretches, feel free, and Becca, you can give them my email to reach out to me and I can send you some.
Perfect. And then, yes, we will add the link for that location and we will also send it out in the reminder with the recording. The last question I see is a very specific question. So if we need to pass off, we can. But are there any stretches for pelvic bone achiness?
Pelvic bone achiness, yes. And I'd have to get on the ground and maybe show you some. So if that person wants to reach out, I can send them some specific exercises for sure.
Awesome.
Great. Well, thank you, everybody. And thank you, Jody. That was an awesome presentation. And
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to becoming more flexible myself. And thanks for all the
Yeah.
awesome questions and everyone for attending. Um, just wanted to remind everyone to check out winterstreak.org for all of our upcoming workshops. I put a link to the resources in the chat, as well as all the programs and screenings that we provided on winterstreak.org, as well as WellSpan's Health events and classes page. And we'll share that link. I did in the chat, but we'll make sure to share that again. Our next workshop on February 5th is our cooking demo featuring chicken taco lettuce wraps. So that sounds delicious. And
Yummy.
so if you would like to sign up for that one and you haven't already, feel free to go over to winterstreak.org and you'll see where you can register for that workshop. All right, well, thank you everybody, and we hope you all stay warm today. It is very chilly.
Yes. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks. Take care.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.